7 years after the launch of the PS4 and Xbox One, 2020 is the year that a brand new generation of consoles is finally coming our way. Microsoft's Xbox Series X is going to be released later this year in the holiday period, and by the sounds of it, a lot of lessons have been learned from the tumultuous launch of the Xbox One way back in 2013. This time around, Microsoft has made a lot of noise about the fact that it's releasing what it believes to be the most powerful console on the market, with all its messaging centered around that key point. As for games, Halo Infinite and Hellblade 2 are the two biggest IPs that have currently been confirmed to be coming out on Xbox Series X. Plus, as this is a Microsoft console, you're going to want to keep your fingers crossed for a Fable 4 announcement. And if you want to know more about the game, you can look in the top right-hand corner of the video to watch the other videos I've made about Fable 4 because I really like it too.
Alright, buddy, alright. This is a video about the Xbox Series X, so let's just reel in that Fable 4 talk, okay?
Actually, when it comes to first-party exclusives, Microsoft is doing things a little differently.
See, to begin with at least, the Xbox Series X isn't actually going to have any first-party exclusives. But more on that later.
Pricing, power, first-party exclusives, and backwards compatibility are of course all hot topics for the Xbox Series X. So we thought we'd let you know everything that we know about the Xbox Series X so far.
Let's kick off with the specs. Phil Spencer has made it clear that Microsoft want to make sure the Xbox Series X is the most powerful console on the market, so the guts of the Xbox Series X are hefty.
Oh, again with the gross metaphors, Zoe.
Sorry. As a whole, the Xbox Series X is going to be twice as powerful as the Xbox One X and 8 times as powerful as the Xbox One, with everything you'd expect from a next-gen console. The main innards of the Xbox Series X is going to have a custom-built AMD processor that's based on Zen 2 and Navi architecture. Then there's also
12 teraflops of power, which is double that of the Xbox One X. And no, I don't know what a teraflop is. Sue me.
A GDDR6 for RAM.
120Hz refresh rates.
Games have the potential of running in 8K. Ray tracing tech, which means more immersive environments thanks to sophisticated changes in how light works, which means more convincing shadows and reflections. A physical disk drive.
An SSD replaces the HDD.
And the whole thing will be compatible with Xbox One accessories. That SSD speeds up loading times to the extent that Microsoft is aiming to virtually eliminate loading times, as Phil Spencer told GameSpot. Unlike the Spider-Man loading times demo that got leaked a while back for PS5, there's no demonstration of these faster load times on Xbox Series X. But we're betting at E3 Microsoft will have plenty to show off for the Xbox Series X, so we might see those speedy loading times in action then. Now you know what's on the inside, it's time to zoom out and have a look at the outside of the Xbox Series X. Spencer told GameSpot that Microsoft wanted to design a console where form was driven by function, so it ended up with a console that was about 6 inches wide and about as tall as an Xbox One. The whole thing can be displayed either vertically or horizontally, much like previous Microsoft consoles, but despite its heft, the Xbox Series X is, apparently, relatively silent. A sizable fan pushes hot air out of the top of the Xbox Series X, hence the holes, which allow the console to run as quietly as the Xbox One X, according to Spencer. Flip it over, and on the back of the Xbox Series X, the ports hint that there could be space for an NVMe PCI Express drive, allowing for an extra place to store your games, as suggested by our pals over at Digital Foundry. Other suggestions float that it could be a diagnostic port that won't appear on the final console, as the console the port was found on is labelled as a prototype.
This might sound a bit radical at first, but there aren't currently any plans to have first-party exclusives on the Xbox Series X. And that fact comes directly from Xbox Game Studio boss Matt Booty.
In an interview with MCV, Booty said that for about 2 years, newly released games will work on all Xbox devices, like the Xbox One, Xbox One X, and Xbox Series X, as well as PC. In fact, in a different interview, this time with Stevivor, Phil Spencer revealed that Xbox Play Anywhere means that games should be playable seamlessly across all of those devices, including syncing up achievements and save games.
So, you could be playing on the Xbox One X for a couple of hours and then just jump straight to the Xbox Series X to continue your playthrough from there. So, if you're the kind of person who likes to bunny hop from console to console, just for the hell of it and just to prove that you can, well, I'm impressed.
Booty says that Microsoft wants to make sure that if someone invests in an Xbox between now and the release of Series X, that they feel like they made a good investment and that Microsoft is committed to them with content. Anyway, Booty goes on to say that Microsoft is going to have 2 IPs available at the launch of Xbox Series X. One of those 2 titles is Halo Infinite. As Halo Infinite is the first Halo game in 15 years to be coming out simultaneously with the new console, it's perhaps no surprise that Booty claims the team is going to be doing a ton of things to make sure the game takes advantage of the Xbox Series X's new features. I'd expect a Halo Infinite limited edition Xbox Series X to be released too, so if that sounds like your jam, you might want to hold off on getting an Xbox Series X in case that edition gets announced. With all that talk of how long it's been since a Halo game released with an Xbox, I reckon it's time to talk about backwards compatibility. This has been Microsoft's big centerpiece for a while now, and it's going to be exactly the same case for Xbox Series X. You'll be able to play all the games currently available on Xbox One, including the entire suite of Xbox 360 and Xbox titles found in the Behemoth backwards compatibility library. Plus, the whole range of Xbox One accessories will work on the Xbox Series X, so you don't have to buy new controllers or headsets, which will certainly save you some cash.
Speaking of controllers, the new Series X controller has some brand new, much needed functions, starting with a new share button. Sounds familiar? Which will let you quickly and easily share your best moments from your favourite games.
That means you don't have to faff around with storing it in your OneDrive or go into your Managed Captures folder, instead, hopefully being able to do it there and then without minimising your game. Added to the Series X controller is also the D-pad taken directly from the Xbox Elite Series 2 wireless controller. And, like I mentioned before, the controller is compatible with Windows 10 PCs and Xbox One. There's the usual stuff too, like rumble triggers and haptic feedback, but nestled inside the thing is also improvements to the already low latency. Jason Ronald, Partner Director of Program Management for Team Xbox, told GameSpot that developers can use the dynamic latency input tool included in the controller to let inputs closely match the game's rendering path. In all, that means more immersion for you, as you're not waiting on split-second delays between a button press and your character's movement. Before we talk about price, let me slot this in real quick. There's going to be 0 VR support for the Xbox Series X on launch. Sorry, Ian.
In a Gamertag podcast, Spencer said that VR isn't part of the equation right now, and that Microsoft is holding back implementing VR with the Xbox Series X until, and I quote, it becomes a no-brainer.
Right, on to the price of the Xbox Series X. This is a hot topic right now, as both Sony and Microsoft seem to be waiting each other out to see how the other one prices their console before deciding on their own price. For now, talk about how much the Xbox Series X will cost is vague, but memories of the announcement and launch of the Xbox One seem to be still fresh in Microsoft's mind, as Spencer owns up to the lessons it's learned from the initial pricing of the Xbox One, which, for many people, was just too high. As a quick refresher, in November 2013, at launch, the Xbox One was $499, which players understandably balked at. However, after removing the inbuilt Kinect sensor in June 2014, the price was lowered to $399. One of the main takeaways from that palaver was that Microsoft will now not be out of position on power or price, says Spencer in an interview with The Verge. He then went on to be quite blunt about it, mentioning that at the beginning of the generation we were $100 more expensive and less powerful. Microsoft won't be making the same mistake twice. Okay, so there's one more thing to clarify about the Xbox Series X before we sign off.
Namely, that the Xbox Series X is just one console in Microsoft's next generation. So, as a whole, there will be more consoles released in this next generation with the name Xbox. To quote Billie Eilish, duh.
So, the Xbox Series X is just the first console. Basically, expect there to be more next-gen Microsoft consoles coming your way. A while back, there were rumours of 2 consoles coming from Microsoft, with the code names Anaconda and Lockhart. Anaconda is probably the Series X, as it was the higher-powered one, while the other console, codenamed Lockhart, was rumoured to be a cheaper build that mainly streamed games, taking advantage of Microsoft's xCloud technology. Microsoft hasn't commented on any of those rumours, but Spencer did tell GameSpot that the name's Series X gives Microsoft freedom to do other things with that name, so it can create descriptors when it needs to.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what Microsoft has up its sleeve, but hopefully they'll steer clear of adding any more X's to the name, because this is getting really confusing.
And that's what we know so far about the Xbox Series X. Expect Microsoft to drip feed more information over the coming months, especially at this year's E3.
Hit like if you're thinking of getting an Xbox Series X or you're just curious to find out what's in store, and subscribe to Eurogamer for more videos about gaming.
We release a brand new video every single day, so there's always something to watch.
All this talk of the Xbox Series X has me thirsting for a next-gen Fable game. So, if you'll excuse me, I need to go kick some virtual chickens.